What even is a good credit score? This all-encompassing, elusive number decides whether you get a car, a house, or a soul-crushing 29% interest rate. Today, we're going to break it down into bite-sized pieces. All right, so to make things easier, we're going to break this down into just 3 sections. So, number 1, what is a credit score? Number 2, what makes up your credit score? And then finally, number 3, how we can boost it. Now, before we get started, quick little tiny story. I'm pretty much the same as everybody else when it came to credit. I really didn't know how it was used. I just knew it was kind of a loan. And so my very first credit card, I didn't want to get in trouble, so I only got a $1,000 maximum card from my credit union. And of all things, I used it back, this is 12, 13 years ago now, to buy a suit. And yeah, I ended up getting into debt a little bit, but it was a learning lesson. And so I started to learn exactly how to build my credit score from that point on. Now, building credit does take time, but using the exact tips that I'm going to teach you in this video, I went from a high 500 score, which is abysmal, all the way up to 800 in the span of about 3 or 4 years. So let's break it down. Okay, so we're going to start off with the basics. What even is a credit score? So to summarize, basically a credit score is kind of like your report card when you were younger. Now, a credit score is something that you might not even have realized that you have, but as soon as you take out your very first credit card or a loan from your bank, well, the grading begins. Your credit score is going to be a number between 300 and 850, being absolute top of the top. The higher it is, the more banks will trust you and offer you bigger and longer loans. And the worse off it is, the lower, well, enjoy that 49% interest on your newest couch. But where does this magic number come from? Well, let me introduce you to the unholy trinity of credit reporting: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Now, each of these agencies is going to collect your financial data as you spend money with your credit cards or loans, and they are going to crunch those numbers on how well you're paying off your debt, how long you've had credit for, and a couple of other topics we'll be getting into shortly. They then give that data to some secondary companies like FICO or VantageScore, who take it and crunch the data, and then they spit out your credit score. All right, so here's what actually makes up your credit score. Kind of think of it as a pizza.
First up is payment history. Do you pay on time? That's the biggest slice. Miss a payment? It's like dropping pineapple on your pizza. Some people forgive it. Banks, not so much. Number 2 is credit utilization, which is going to be 30%. This is how much of your credit you're using. So for a quick example, if your limit is $1,000 and you used $900, you're at a 90% utilization rate. The third is the length of your credit history. How long you've had credit, the older your accounts, the better. So don't close out your first credit card, even if it's ugly and give 0 rewards. Just spend a little money on them occasionally to keep them open. Fourth is your credit mix. Do you have a blend? Whether it's a credit card, a car loan, maybe even a mortgage. Banks like variety, kind of like a good playlist. And last is new credit. So every time you apply for a credit card, it dings your score a little bit. So don't go applying for 5 cards in one day. This is the credit game, not Pokemon.
Okay, now I'm hungry. So, in the comments, tell me, what's the best topping on pizza? The last thing that we're gonna do is we are going to talk about what everybody wants, how to boost our credit score. So there's lots of tiny little tips and tricks, but I'm going to go over the top 5. Number 1 is going to just be pay everything on time. Even if it's the minimum, make a payment. The best strategy will always be to pay in full at the end of every single month though. Credit cards should be used like debit cards in the fact that you only buy what you can afford. Now this is the actual trick to playing the credit points game, but that's another video. Number 2 is going to be keeping a low credit utilization score. Now, the best way to do it is to never spend more than about 30%, but the most ideal is under 10%. A third way that you can bump up your credit score is by calling and seeing if you can bump up your limit. Now, by doing this, we're not going to be spending more, but this is just going to help our utilization rate. So say you had a credit score before of 10,000 and you get it up to 20,000. Before, if you were spending $4,000 a month on $10,000 worth of limit, you had a 40% utilization rate, which is not ideal. At least it's under 50%. But say you got it up to that 20,000, now your credit utilization rate of $4,000 would be only 20%, which is a big difference and really going to boost up your credit. I want you to remember that we're playing credit chess, not credit checkers. So a bonus tip is if you continue to make good credit habits and decisions, eventually the companies that are giving you the credit cards in the first place might just give you a limit increase for free and without dinging your credit score. And that is awesome. A fourth option might be to become an authorized user. So if you know somebody who has a way better credit score than you, you might ask if you can become an authorized user. And that's simply just getting your name on their credit card. If someone with good credit adds you to their card, you'll get a boost. Ask nicely and bake cookies if needed. And the last option is to see if there's any errors on your credit report. Now, you can actually call up your own individual credit company or even the credit bureau to dispute anything, but you're definitely going to want to have your homework ready before you call. Your credit score isn't who you are, but it does affect a lot. From getting an apartment to buying your dream van to live down by the river. Take care of it now, and future you will thank you for it. So, drop a comment. What's one thing that you did to build up your credit score? Leave a like to let me know that you're on your way to building your credit. And please subscribe if you'd like to learn more pro tips on escaping your 9-to-5 and building financial freedom. Till next week, guys. Peace.